Hi class, this is Miss Bacon, and here is the lecture for chapter 3 about the computer and its operating system environment. So this chapter opens up with, a description about operating systems, and just know we either have Macs or we have Windows. When it comes to our smartphones, we either have Androids or iPhones. So I just wanted to, with this lecture, kind of go through the best points of chapter 3 because there are really good points. And the next best point regarding this chapter has to do with starting the computer. So you would want to do, a lot of times with computers, you do Control-Alt-Delete to start up the computer. And just know to shut down a computer. On my computer here, right, you would go to the start menu and you go to the top icon and see you can sign out, right? Or you can go to the power button down here and I can shut down, I can put it to sleep, or I can restart it. So those are your options with Windows. And just wanted to go up how you start and shut down a computer. So moving on. Now this chapter, it kind of talks about the desktop, what the desktop looks like. So I wanted to show you my desktop. So here's my desktop. It has NOCE on it. I have here, there are shortcuts. So a shortcut has a little arrow on it. I have files. I also have icons on here. The recycle bin would be an icon. So those are examples of files that are on my desktop. And just know, right here, this is my mouse or my pointer. So this allows me to navigate my computer and do things on it. Now at the bottom of my desktop is the taskbar. So it's kind of nice. So here's the start menu. So you can click here and then, immediately type in for a program. Say if I wanted to open up Microsoft Word, it's just that simple. I just type that and get into Microsoft Word, on and on and on. And I also have my file folder pinned to my taskbar, as well as my system. It's like my remote desktop connection. And then on the very far right, this is called your notification area. So these are like programs that run in the background. And here, this is nice. It's just a time and date stamp for us to, if we ever need to know the date and time. So that's the desktop and the taskbar. The taskbar is kind of nice too. Like if you wanted to, you can move it around. So it looks like it's locked to the bottom. So if I were to right click, see it says it's been locked, right? So I can unlock the taskbar. Let's say I like it up on the top of the screen. So now I just moved it to the top of the screen, or I can move it to the side of the screen or to the other side, but I'm most comfortable with it on the bottom. So I'm just going to move it back to the bottom. So it's kind of nice. It's a nice way for you to personalize your computer. So we can also, like the 4 major things you can have on your desktop would be a shortcut. As I told you before, a shortcut has a little arrow on it. An icon is sort of a picture of something. And I can also have files. Here's this is actually it's a file or a document. And I can also have folders on my desktop that contain documents. So those are kind of the 4 things that you'll have on your desktop. And if you wanted to, you can pin things to your taskbar. So let's say I wanted to pin, I wonder if I can pin the snipping tool to my, I can go here, the snipping tool is really nice. So I'm gonna pin it to my taskbar, and it looks like I can do several things to it. So I searched for it, and then I did a right click on it, and I'm gonna pin it to my taskbar. And then if I were to get out of the menu, you can see it's right there, pinned to my taskbar, which makes my life more convenient. So the programs that you frequently use, I would suggest creating shortcuts and put them on your desktop, or pin them to your taskbar for ease of finding them and ease of use. Let's see here. Another thing we can do with our desktop is personalize the background. So if I go on the desktop with my mouse and do a right click, I can select here personalize, and I can select a different background. So let's say I wanted a beach theme. I could do that and have a beautiful beach instead. I could also add different colors. Maybe I like this pink. So that would be my screen colors. And so you can see here, personalization. So the background, I can change the picture. The accent color I can change, that would affect the menu. The lock screen, when the computer locks, I can change that picture. I can put it all together in a theme, and I can change fonts. And I can also do personalization to the start menu as well as to the taskbar. So here I can lock the taskbar, I can hide it. So there's lots of personalization I can do with my laptop. So definitely, if you want to, you can check that out. Another thing too, if you wanted to organize all of the items on your desktop, you could, we could technically kind of highlight them all like that with my mouse, and then I could do sort of a right click, and we could say sort by name or size, item type, date modified. I could refresh the whole thing. I could view by large icons, small icons. So if I were to do large icons, right, this is kind of what it looks like. So this might be kind of nice to do if maybe I had visual problems, right? Things are bigger. And then if I wanted to, let's see, let me go back up here and just, looks like I'm just gonna highlight them all again, and okay, so we're going to view by medium icons. We're going to go back to medium icons. But you can highlight all of your items on the desktop and change how they are viewed by doing a right click. And alternatively, you can you know, drag and rearrange items. So maybe if I didn't like this rubric here, I could move it to the right side of my screen. Okay, so you can rearrange items on your desktop to best suit your needs. So just to go over that command again, so you highlight all the items on your desktop, and then you, anywhere on the desktop, you do a right click to change the view. Another thing that's kind of nice, so I've showed you how you can go to the start menu, right? And then you can say, type in a program you want to use, say like Microsoft Word, and then go into that to start Microsoft Word. Another way to do that on your desktop, you can just go right click and see where it says new. You can go new, see, and I can create a new folder, a new shortcut. I can go to a new Microsoft Word document, a new PowerPoint, a new Excel worksheet, a new compressed folder. So right-click new is really nice. So don't forget about that. You can do right-click new on your desktop to create new Microsoft Office documents besides going to the start menu. And a lot of times too, you can see how those programs have been sent as shortcuts to my desktop. So another way to do that too would just be to double click, a left double click on, say, Microsoft Word to get into it to create a document. Now when it comes to, let's say I wanted to open up, I'm going to just open up a file, right? Here's just a rubric, right? It's just a sample rubric, but it's also a window that I've opened up. And just know, to resize a window, usually what I do, you can take your cursor, and do you see how it changes shape right there? It becomes sort of a double arrow. When it does that, I can resize this window. So now when it changes shape, I can click on it, and I usually drag it by the corner because it makes it smaller from all angles. So I'm going to make it, okay, it looks like that's the smallest I can make it. But you can resize your windows that way. So I made it smaller, so if I wanted to make it bigger, I could just drag it out here. There, I made it bigger. Another thing too, when you have a window open, just know this button right here, this minimizes it. So if I were to click that, it now goes to your taskbar. So you haven't closed it. It's still open, but it's on your taskbar. So you click on it on your taskbar to restore it. And here, if I click on this, this maximizes it. So now it takes up the whole window. Or I could go back to minimizing it. And then if I were to open it up again, I can click on the restore down, and it'll go back to how we made it that size earlier. So this is sort of a nice way to change the size of your windows. So you have the minimize, which puts it on your taskbar. So it takes it off your desktop. And then you can click on it to restore it. This is the maximize button. This will make it bigger to fill up the whole screen, And then there's also the restore down. So this will restore it to how you shaped the window previously. And then last but not least, we can close that window with the X. So I just wanted to show you how to manipulate a window. Another thing too that's kind of nice with a window, you can do split windows. So if I were to slam it against the side, do you see how it creates, you see sort of a shadow? And I let go, now it's half of the screen. And if I were to do, say, another document, so now I have, let's say I had to work using two documents, I can have them side by side so that I can see them easily. So just know you grab the document at the top and you slam it into the side until you see that shadow on your desktop, and then you know it'll be a split screen. So it's another nice little feature you can do with Windows once you have them open. That you can do with any document or any file once you have it open. Let's see, I'm just going through the chapter. Now they're talking about how to copy things. So just know, let's say if I wanted to copy this document here that says module, right? I can highlight it, I can do a right click, and I can copy it. And then let's say if I were to just paste it nearby, here's a copy of it. So you highlight an item, you right click, copy, and then you can right click, paste to make a copy of something. Another way would be to highlight, you can do Control C, and then somewhere on your desktop you can do Control V, and then there's another copy. And those are sort of the ways to make a copy of something. If you wanted to cut something, right, I could cut this document and then paste it over here. I think I have too many copies on here. Let's see here. Let's get rid of that and that. So let's say if you don't want to make a copy of something, right, but you want to put it in a different location. So that would be a cut and paste, right? So it's the same steps. So you highlight something, do a right click, and you can see there is a cut. And then you do a right click and paste. And the shortcut keys would be to do Control X and then Control V, just to let you know. Okay, so that's how we can copy or how we can cut and paste things. Another thing too, you can delete folders or files, right? So let's see if I were to made a copy of this module. So I can just highlight it and press the delete button, which is right here on my keyboard. Okay, it's that simple. I can also do right click and delete from the menu. And I can also drag it to my recycle bin. So if I were to drag it there, now I've deleted it. So those are the 3 different ways to delete something. And last but not least, if I wanted to, it's nice to empty your recycle bin periodically. So if I go right click, I can empty my recycle bin. And it says, are you sure you want to permanently delete these 3 items? And I'll say yes. And now you'll notice the recycle bin, it was full of trash. Now it's totally empty and clean. So trash has been taken out. So make sure to do that periodically on your computer. And last but not least, we're almost done. Let's see here. They talk about at the very end too how to do disk cleanup, how to scan your disk and do the defragmenter. To use the disk cleanup, so you want to go to the hard drive of your computer. So if I were to go to, say if I go to my documents and I go up a level, let's find my computer. And so here, just know your computer, the hard drive is always C, it's always labeled C. So if I were to go to, I believe it's properties, and we have here, this is perfect, it's exactly what we want, right? So if your computer is running slow, you want to do this and it'll make your computer run fast again. And so we have here disk cleanup. So I would click on this to run a disk cleanup. And it shows me all of these files that I can delete that I don't need. So I would do that. And then also we want to do the scan disk. So if I go to, I believe it's the tools tab. So it would be here checking for system errors. You want to do that. And then you also want to click on the optimize, the defragmentation. So the first one, the disk cleanup, it gets rid of items you don't need. The scanning for errors, right, it's just checking your system for errors and helps to fix them if it finds them. And then the defragmentation, it kind of reorganizes things on your computer so that it runs more efficiently. So do this periodically in your computer to keep it running well. And that wraps it up for our lecture on Chapter 3. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. And make sure to practice these things that we've gone over on your computer to reinforce what you've learned so that you take them away from this course, because it'll make you a really good employee wherever you go to work. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.